Hello and welcome everyone to our podcast that still doesn't have a name yet, but we'll get there at some point. Guys, today we pay tribute to our friend, our colleague, the amazing legend, Luke Sandoe, after his passing a couple of days ago. Guys, we need you to write rest in peace down there and show us some love and support to himself, to his family and for all of us. We're all affected by this. Opening up our podcast right now, it's very, very hard for us to even talk about it. But let me introduce, guys, our guest here, IFBB Pro Darren Farrell, all the way from where are you now, Darren?
I'm in Dubai.
Dubai.
UAE.
Yeah.
And obviously myself, the dictator, the host, and the co-host, IFBB Pro. Go ahead, introduce yourself again.
Mr. Lofthouse.
Mr. Lofthouse.
I like to be a bit more formal now.
Yeah, we need to be. We have a guest here today, so we need to be a little bit more, careful with the language. So, obviously, you live in Dubai here, Darren, and the life is completely different from how we have it here in the UK. Don't let the accent, put you off. I live in the UK. I live in, close to between Hertfordshire and Surrey, so close to London.
I want to know where he got his haircut. He's definitely had a haircut.
What, Darren?
Yeah, he's got the butt. You've had a trim.
Yeah, man. I've got a barber who comes to my house.
What the?
That's Dubai for you. I heard like even your shopping, like a corner shop would
Wow.
do everything for you, right?
Yeah, Instashop, just on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
How are you got a barber to come to your house? You not got this distance.
No, so until like 2 weeks ago, yeah, he wasn't allowed, but now it's opened up social distancing, and barbers and stuff have opened up. So I've got this guy who comes to my house.
Fantastic.
Oh, right.
Fantastic.
I'm starting to get that. Those patches of fluff where the bottom of the hair is merging into my back hair.
Get your your mother or your missus to do it for you.
Something like that.
Guys, today we have a lot of questions. We're going to go through quite a bit. There's a huge topic here that we want to speak about. Obviously, Darren, you probably heard we lost Luke Sandoe a couple of days ago. And obviously, we don't want to speculate of what's happening. The news is still all over the place. We don't know what exactly happened, but by the looks of the social media and everything, it's everyone's speaking about it's a suicide. It's a suicidal attempt that obviously we're not here. He's not here anymore. So I don't know how do you guys see it over there now in Dubai? You guys being around other bodybuilders.
To be honest, I got a message from Jamie the day it was. Like it was a post that went up quite early from some random company. And Jay sent it to me and was like, is this real? And it was just like, I was like, no, because I checked, hadn't seen it anywhere else, nobody else reporting it, nothing. And I was like, fuck, I'll look at James Hollingshead's Instagram, just check. And I was like, oh shit, man, he ain't been online in like a day, which is strange. Yeah. Neither was Luke, so.
Yeah.
And then I think about an hour or two later, obviously we saw the announcements of it. It was true, and it was one of those ones that just you didn't believe, because you didn't see it coming, Yeah. But I guess, we'll go into more depth, and I'm sure, like myself, nobody saw with myself anything coming either, Yeah. You got to realize what people have on the outside never is what's on the inside. People can be very hard.
Of course.
Very good at hiding these things.
Of course, keep it under a shell, as they say.
Yeah, and I think, who did I see? Oh, I can't remember who I saw on social media talking about it, and they're like, Luke was a bodybuilder, yeah, and he was a huge man and a phenom of such, but underneath it all, man, he's just a human.
Yeah.
And everyone has the same shit. you know, the same sort of bad things that go on in life. And just because someone's in the limelight and they excel at something doesn't mean that there's a whole lot else going on underneath that you don't understand or you don't get.
Of course. One of the questions here that you know, kind of something raises a flag here to me personally, because I saw one of his podcasts with Fuad Abiad, and he was saying that he was seeing a therapist once a week, yet it still led to this result. So I mean, what can you make out of this?
Like I went when I first went through depression, and I realized I was massively suffering, and it was after my own attempted suicide. I went to see a therapist for, I'd say, 7-8 sessions, and it was digging up the stuff, getting down to the roots of why, like my own issues, my personal issues. And to be perfectly honest, man, I thought it just made things worse for me, you know. I found that stuff didn't help me. I didn't like it. I felt uncomfortable. I just wasn't for me. And that sort of stuff that didn't help me at all.
Was it weird talking to someone that was like unfamiliar or something? Yeah,
at first. And then it was just like, it just felt a bit cliche, you know?
Yeah.
The things going on. Like I remember coming back from like 5th or 6th session, and I was like to Becky, I was like, this woman called me the wrong name today. You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, it doesn't feel right. And I always kept coming out of each session and being like, I don't feel like that helped. I felt like she was telling me my reasons and trying to tell me what was wrong. And, oh yeah, you went through this, but now you need to do this and you need to put it here and deal. Like, not everyone deals with things the same way, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Was this in Dubai, or was that here in the UK, or? No,
in Dubai. I went to one of the top private clinics here.
Right.
Obviously, because depression and things in Dubai is very, very different to the UK, obviously, because, you know, when I attempted suicide, it was in Dubai, and we weren't able to Becky wasn't able to call on medical services because, you know, it's illegal. So, you know, even the medications and stuff that I was on are very hard to be prescribed and stuff here because it's not seen as okay.
Yeah.
Was this before I came out and spent some time with you a couple of years ago? Was it before that or after that?
Before. The year before.
So was it quite recent after sort of obviously you moved out there initially? It was quite recent after
our first Christmas here.
Yeah.
Our first Christmas here was January. So just after Christmas here.
Right. I have obviously a lot of questions that go through my head as you're talking, guys. So was this something after a show or before a show, or were you under pressure or anything?
No, like now I'm in a place that I can look back and I can see, I was going through depression for probably 7-8 years.
Okay.
And probably since the age of 23, 24. You know, I'm 31 now. It just came to, I think, moving to Dubai, the pressures of being away from family, not having the kind of people to fall back on, and at the time, Dubai was very different. 3 years ago, it was very different to it is now. Me and Becky came out here on our own. You know, now when people come out, there's a group of, you know, English and fitness people that everyone knows. Like when Jamie came out, I helped him and stuff. And it's a very different culture here now. Whereas when we came out, we were very much on our own. And I think the pressures of life and all of that come on top of it, brought it all to a head for me.
So the question here raises itself. How did you deal with it now? I mean, how did you overcome the situation?
I went through phases of depression isn't like, it's not like something that's just is there and it's like, it comes and goes, you know. You have good days, you have bad days, and even now, like I have good days and I have bad days, but I understand it and I know what's going on.
You're aware.
Yeah, I'm aware of like the times, like and what brings it about. So for me, I had a number of times where I thought I got better and I'd have good periods, but then I'd have a bad period and a good period and a bad period. And honestly, probably Jamie's influence on me is what helped me get through it completely. Changing my mindset, just being a more positive person, ignoring outside noise, ignoring, like, learning that what other people think doesn't matter. Fuck, and just focusing on me, focusing on what needs to be done, and also creating an environment where I can thrive, like routine, goals, things like that. And but ultimately, the biggest thing that for me, the turning point where I noticed that I came out of my shell and truly overcame it as such was me and Becky hit a point, not this summer, the summer before, where what you have to remember, someone going through depression and being like the way I was is fucking so hard for the partner.
Yeah,
of course.
It got to a point where it was incredibly hard for Becky, and she needed time away. So she took a decision for her mental health to go for the summer. She went to Greece to her parents for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was sink or swim for me at that point, because it was like I struggled massively for the first few weeks on my own, like with anxiety attacks and just massively depressed. And then it got to a point where it was just like, I have to overcome this, so I just jumped both feet in, overcame, started becoming more confident in like group situations, because I had massive anxiety that I couldn't be in a group or talk, and then I just got better. And then when she came back, I remember not long after she came back, we went out for a meal with friends, and she was blown away that I was like talking to everyone and being like the group, like the center of the group. And it was just, I just learned to cope, it was being around someone like Jamie, who's just like, just get on with it. Come on, just fucking get on with it.
Yeah.
You can have a self-pity party, or you can just do it,
Yeah.
For me, it was probably the tough love, and just having no option but to just overcome it.
Yeah. I mean, John, do you have these issues after shows that you go into a dip as well? Like, I mean, it happens to me all the time, where there's nothing to look forward to.
I've never been in a dip after a show, but I definitely dip during the show. Prepping for the show. It's like I've done a video a couple of days ago speaking about this. Like the worst sort of low I've had is my recent prep, for the British finals, or like the qualifier in the British finals, where I got myself into a real state. That I was with the girl that I loved, but I didn't think that she would really want to sort of continue this lifestyle with me. Bodybuilding is a weird lifestyle for somebody who doesn't know bodybuilding. And the entire time through my prep, I just kept pushing her away to the point I actually broke up with her. And it ties in with like Luke. I was being prepped by Luke at the time, and he basically told me to, to summarize, he told me to stop being a dick and man the fuck up. And eventually I got back with her, but I didn't actually resolve the
Luke, huh? That was typical Luke, though.
Yeah. But I got back with her, but then I didn't actually fully resolve the issues in my head. At the end of the day, the issues were still in my head, and we split again. And it's only until the last couple of months now that I've sorted my shit out, and I'm back with her now, thank God. But yeah, I've never had sort of dips after shows or anything like that. Only, I've had a few low periods during shows where you're just so run down and everybody's on you because, you don't want to talk and stuff, and everybody don't understand.
I get you. I understand what you're saying. The reason I'm asking this is because I've spoken to a lot of bodybuilders. I've been in the bodybuilding industry for a long time, and I mean, I'm sure I don't know if we've met before in person, Darren, but I've been a long time way before. I think it was the beginning of the UKBFF when the EFBB, went out, and then the UKBFF took over. Anyway, so I mean, I've spoken to so many guys. Every single one of them has this post-show blues. A lot of the guys have pressure from, turning pro, and then it'll be like, okay, now what? What am I supposed to do now? All the eyes are on me. I feel anxious. I feel overwhelmed. Do you think that this could contribute in being depressed in a way, Darren?
Yeah, massively. And I think the guys spoke about this. I Ben said about Luke, bodybuilding is often it's a distraction. So when a period of that ends, it's not necessarily the fact that it's ended and that's caused the depression. It's just that's been delaying the inevitable. You know, and for me, for a long time, bodybuilding was that distraction as well. Like I used to just bodybuild and I used to throw myself into competition preps and stuff to escape the reality of what I was going through. Whereas now, like, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't care if I ever competed again. I just love training. That's what I do.
Good point, huh?
Yeah. It was huge for me as well. Bodybuilding was it was always a get out. Just, well, not even the competing side, just training. Training was a get out. Like when I was 21, and I got into a lot of trouble. And training was just the way to forget about everything.
One of the things that we've always spoke about as bodybuilders, you know, we most of the time it happens to all of us. Like, okay, I don't want to train anymore. I feel tired. I don't want to be around in the gym anymore. And you have this thing where you start telling yourself, I need to fall in love with training again. And once you find that back in you, you just become a completely different person. You become that beautiful, nice teddy bear again, you know. And I'm sure Darren, this is what you're talking about right now, because a lot of us start treating it like a job. You know, you get into the gym, you need to get your job done and go home and eat, and that's another job, and then sleep. This, you know, sleeping becomes a job. So I mean, I can relate to what Darren's saying, and it's crazy. I mean, I hope you guys out there can listen to what, you know, this is very valuable for everyone. I mean, Darren, do you find that because you're a guy, you couldn't open up that quick?
Yeah, you know, like when I first, I'll never forget the moment I told Becky I think something's wrong. Like I broke down and said something's wrong. And I remember going to a doctor and then hearing the words that you've got, it's like depression and severe anxiety. I was like, fuck, what? You know, I was embarrassed, to be perfectly honest. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to say it to people. And eventually, you know what, it was just, eventually I kind of just realized that I can't remember who I was speaking to. But I remember speaking to someone and just being like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. And once you got to that point and you were able to just say you have it, and just, it was like a relief. You know, the first people I told my parents, Becky's parents, a few close friends that I was going through this. And then eventually I was able to speak out about it publicly. And it was like a relief, and it was just like a weight off my shoulders. And then I could fully come to terms with it and start dealing with it and understanding it more. But at first, like it's almost like one of those things, Joe, like, you know, when you hear someone has cancer or something, like it's one of those things you don't think is ever going to happen to you. You know, and
talk about it.
Yeah, and then when I'm like, they tell me I have depression, I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I have depression? You know, and it was almost there was also that feeling within me that, like, what do I have to, like, obviously I had things going on which I've been dealing with, but it's like I have a pretty good life, you know, and people from the outside in would look at it like I've been at the top of every sport I've ever played. I've represented my country. I've gone on to be pretty successful in bodybuilding. At the time, I wasn't a successful bodybuilder, but I was half decent. But it was just like, why? That was the biggest thing for me, was why.
Yeah. I think sometimes, man, like with all social media and everything like that, everybody sort of dictates that a man has to be like a fucking island, you know, like you have to provide food, you have to provide shelter, you have to be like the one that's secure, you know, like if the island sinks, then everything fucking sinks. But it's not really like that, man. Like that's what I think guys get the feeling of. They get that overwhelming feeling that they're the one that's supposed to be solid, you know, can't be nothing wrong with you. You're a fucking man, you know. You have to man up, but it's not really like that, man.
That's why a lot of bodybuilders, you know, like when I first spoke out about it, like I'm not going to say names here, but I had a lot of top bodybuilders message me, say like, fair play, hold your head, I've suffered with it and stuff like that. I think a lot of bodybuilders bodybuild and get this image to counterbalance it. You know? Yeah.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you get that image, innit? Because we portray that image more than anything, innit? We're the man's man, because visually, like, you know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, most bodybuilders kind of like, big teddy bears, as you say, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone looks at that image and they think we're invincible, you know, like we think we're machines. But then you come to any bodybuilder and you sit down with them. There's a massive amount of intelligence, first of all, and knowledge, science especially. A lot of us get taken as meatheads, and in the same time, there's a lot of softness of it. Most of us have families. A lot of us have kids, and you know, we're very, you know, compassionate people. Mother, father, you know, and especially now, if you look at, you know, Mother's Day in America now, most of the male bodybuilders are actually posting pictures with their mothers and how close they are with their mothers. So we're trying to show the world here that we're still human, you know, we're still normal, you know. It's just because of that image. Everyone thinks we're robots.
At the end of the day, man, our exterior is just a result of our passion, you know. It's just a result of our hobby. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Doesn't mean anything, you know.
Yeah.
So Darren, I mean, I'm right now, I'm gonna speak to you like a fanboy. You know, I'm a huge fan. If I was to tell you this is my scenario right here today. I suffered coronavirus, COVID-19, not long ago, and I've come down from 97 kilos to about 83, and I've managed now to put myself up back to about 90, 91. 2-3 days ago, John knows that, I received a phone call out of nowhere, a contract for a sponsorship. So now I'm in a position where I feel pressured for me to go back to how I used to be, but my body's telling me slow down. So I'm under a lot of pressure, and it's making me feel very anxious. How would you personally deal with something like this?
I've got a mindset now that anything other than me doesn't make a difference. I don't care what someone says. If it's going to deviate away from what I feel is best, it's not what's right. You know, and that's just I've come to that now, because I used to, you know, give in to the pressures of I must compete to live up to expectations. I must do this because, or like I need to look good because I need to do a photo shoot. Now I'm like, if something comes along and they're like, oh, we want you to do a photo shoot, I'm like, nah, I'm nowhere near ready. I'm not doing it. You know, it's got to put the one thing I've learned is I've got to put me and Becky first above all else, and anything, no matter how good an opportunity it is, if it's going to impact on that, it's not worth it.
Yeah. You're way more confident than you used to be, man.
Oh yeah, because I wouldn't, Joe. I don't think it's not confidence as more. It's more focused. I know what's important.
Yeah, like, I remember
now, like sponsorships and what people think and what people say.
Yeah,
they don't mean anything to my happiness.
Yeah.
I've learned now. I've got a close circle. I've got me, Becky, Jamie, and Steph.
Yeah,
and that's it, man. I don't. If anyone else says to me, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know? And that's been the biggest thing for my mental health is, you know, just keeping that close knit.
Do you ever meditate?
No, Becky's big into like that sort of stuff and mindfulness. I just can't resonate with it, but I do my own version of it. Like my cardio, I do cardio year round. I do like 40 minutes, and I'll put a podcast on, or sometimes I'll just I'll put one song on repeat, and I just get in my own head and think.
Meditation could be anything. It doesn't have to be you sitting down doing that.
No,
you know,
that's my time, and I'll just think, and I'll think what's important. I'll think about where I want to be. I'll visualize what I want to achieve, and it's that's usually it. And that's why I always start my day with cardio.
Fantastic. I'm loving this conversation because this could carry on for another 2 hours. You know, I mean, obviously, this kind of subject. John and I were talking before we started. This kind of subject is never out of. I don't like to call it a fashion because it's a lot of people get hurt out of it. But it never gets out of trend, if that makes sense. It's always there. It's always been there. It was a hush thing, and now we're trying to talk about it to help others. And I'm very happy to have you here to show the experience and pass it on to people for people to see it's okay for you not to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know, like last year, me and Becky flew over to the UK to do a talk at MFM UK. They asked us to speak. We did a topic on. To be honest, I remember Becky saying like, "Oh, are we going to prepare anything?" I was like, "No, let's just get up and talk. They just want us to talk a little about us and our story." And we ended up going into a lot more detail than we ever planned. And
Yeah.
it went crazy. The response from people, like, it's created a whole movement stronger together.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it was mental just to see the response and the impact and the way people opened up to us then afterwards. And it was just like, holy shit, out of a room of a couple of hundred, like 50% told us they have either themselves are going through it or someone close to them is going through it. That's scary, you know?
It is.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
But the biggest thing I took away from it was there was a lot of girls came up and spoke to me and said their partners were going through it, but their partners weren't there. And that shows to me that guys are still afraid to speak about it.
I think guys get hit by it worse than girls because guys just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
We just don't want to talk, you know. That's what I was saying the other day. It's like one of the bravest things you can do, I realise now, is just to talk, you know. If it scares you as much as jumping out of a plane, you know, like it's the bravest thing you could do. You just got to talk about it, man. Talking's ruined me. Like not talking has ruined me a few times, man, on separate occasions. And it's just it's like a freaking kettle. Like you're simmering away, like, you know, and then once all the pressure builds up, you need to take the top off the kettle or you're going to boil over, you know? And most people don't take they don't let it go, you know?
It's crazy. There's a statement here that I want to read out. But I've written it down myself in my own way, so it's not really, you know, scientific or anything. But it says here that when, you know, a lot of teenagers go through depression and they go through a lot of hard time dealing with their physical and their mental transition between being a kid to an adult. And a lot of them suffer from depression, but not being dealt with there and then. And this could be obviously carried over as an adult, and it could appear at some point in your life. Way down the line. Obviously, us for being bodybuilders, I don't like to talk about you know, what we do, you know, physically to our bodies to get to that level, but at the same time, there's a huge hormone game here that we experience. So, I mean, obviously, you guys can answer in your different ways. Do you think hormones do play a massive a role in depression?
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to beat around the bush here, of course. I think a mixture between what we use and what we do and how it plays on our hormones to that and the pressures that are involved with the situation that you're in bring the problem to a head. They don't cause the problem. Mm-hmm. They bring it to a head. You know, they may accelerate it and they may to that point, but inevitably they're not what causes it. It's there and it will eventually come to a head. But I think the environment that you're in like it's going to be in prep. That environment and the pressures involved with that, along with the drug side of things, are just going to bring it to a head. They're not the cause of it, though.
Yeah. Definitely. What about you, John?
Yeah, I think the same thing, man. It's not the cause of it. I mean, there's so many things that are involved in, you know, bringing about depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I'm not really the best. Like, you know, you're better getting your answer from Darren because he's been through it. Like I wouldn't say I've been through proper mental health issues, if I'm honest, you know, but yeah, I'm sure.
But you've been through pressure. That's why, you know, that's why I'm getting you. I wouldn't even say getting you involved. I mean, I'm asking you because you've been under that kind of pressure, and I want people to see someone who's been through, you know, through depression, because depression is huge, guys. We need to put that straight out. it's real. A lot of people, I mean, my parents, if I tell them, I mean, I'm half Arab myself. If I go to my parents right now and tell them, you know, I'm depressed, go get a life. They don't know how big that is.
Yeah.
But for they might understand that I'm under pressure. But you know, as that's what I'm asking you. I mean, you being under pressure, does it send you somewhere else? Sometimes you start thinking it, you know, stupid shit coming to your head.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like I said, the situation where, you know, just recently broke up with, you know, my partner twice was all because of pressure. No, so even though I'd like to think that I'm a guy who thrives under pressure, like anybody who knows me, I'm pretty like I do thrive off the pressure. I kind of like it. Like I've never been like Darren knows, I've never been an underdog. I don't walk into the gym and like to think I'm an underdog. I like to think I'm the best.
Yeah.
You know. And then obviously when people ask me how I think I'm going to do at shows, I always say I'm going to win. When people ask me when do I think I'm going to be at the Olympia, I'll say at the next one, you know. So I bring about the pressure on myself, but that helps me perform as an athlete. But then obviously I probably haven't realized that in the background, I probably created a lot of pressure on myself, you know. And then it ekes out in another part of your life, you know. It will never... Pressure for me in bodybuilding has been good for me, if I'm honest. But there's no doubt that the pressure has to, like, it gets built up and then it gets released somewhere else. And it's probably always on my family, you know. It's always on my family. I mean, my first... the first British finals I done back in 2016, I put so much pressure on myself I wanted to win the British finals first time round, which I knew weren't going to happen. I mean, I got third, so I done pretty well. But I put so much pressure on myself to try and be the first guy to win like a British finals first time round, that oh man, I killed myself. I didn't talk to my family. I didn't see nobody. I didn't go to no occasions. I barely spoke to anybody. And it ruined my relationships with my entire family, all my brother, and I'm really close to my family, you know, all my brothers, my mum, my dad, everybody. So probably the pressure is a weird one for me. The pressure for me in bodybuilding itself is good for me. It helps me perform, but then it definitely I need to learn to manage it in other parts of my life now, you know.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Everyone feels pressure. Everyone has bad days.
Yeah, for sure.
Depression is not knowing how to rationalize those.
Yeah.
You know, whereas John might feel the same as me one day, but he'll know how to he'll get over it. Someone with depression, it spirals out of control.
Yeah.
It's the same with anxiety. Like everyone feels anxious about something, but you work to get over it. But when you have like severe anxiety, you can't rationalize that situation, and it just gets worse and worse and worse until you're just completely gone.
Get in a hole.
Yeah, you know, that's what depression is, and that's what I mean by, like, I'm never going to get over depression, but learning to cope with it is now being able to rationalize when I'm feeling fucking weird, that's why it is this way, and then to look, almost what I say is, all right, step away from your body, look at it from the outside in. Now imagine what you would say to someone else beside you who was feeling the way you are. Like, just tell yourself that now and get on with it. So like, I'll have days now where I feel a bit like off, and I'll just remove myself from the pressure, and I'll just, you know, just chill and do something that I know will relax me and take myself out of the environment.
Do you have any other hobbies?
By overcoming depression.
Sorry for interrupting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. Go for it.
Now I was saying, do you have any other hobbies other than bodybuilding? That's something you could do to distract you, or?
I don't, not as such, but like I like now I treat bodybuilding as just like a part of my day. So I tick the boxes of my food, I tick the boxes of my cardio, and I train. Yeah. Other than that, I just spend time I do my work, and I spend time with my wife. Every evening when it gets to like 7:30, 8 p.m., I put down my phone, we just chill, we watch Netflix. You know, every Saturday we do date night. Obviously now with lockdown, we just cook at home or order in or something. But usually we go out for a nice meal somewhere. We go to the cinema, you know. Or recently, while I was prepping for Toronto for the 9 weeks or so I was on prep, every Friday night we booked into one of the nice hotels. We did like a whole pool day on the Saturday because it's my rest day from training. We just chilled by a pool, and we went out for a nice meal that night, and, you know, go to the cinema or something, and stay Saturday night in the hotel as well, and then it's back to normal on Sunday.
Fantastic. So it sounds like you figured life out.
Yeah, yeah. It's just finding that balance, not putting like everything into it. You know, say, yeah, I'm a bodybuilder, but it's not. That's not all I am. You know.
Yeah. Right over here, John, you're gonna love this.
Ah,
Um,
tell me.
we want you to tell us one short story.
Don't
Funny,
put me on the spot. Why are you trying to put me on the spot?
something
Don't
to
do me like that.
remember. Something to remember, Luke Sandoe.
Something to remember him by.
Yeah, something that you two have been through together, or like a story, or a situation you're in, and you want to remember him through that.
I tell you what, one of the there's a few things. I spent, for people who don't know, I am by no means the closest person to Luke Sandoe. You know, I'm really not. But
He was your coach, though.
yeah, when I came into bodybuilding, he was the first guy. Just to give you some background, like he was the first guy that the first bodybuilder I ever saw. You know, like when you're younger, like you only see like bodybuilders. I'm talking like 300-pound bodybuilders. You only see him. I'd only seen Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman. You only see the guys in the magazines. You know, you see the guys on the DVDs. When I came to Rip Gym, like back in 2016, and I see Luke, I was like, man, I envied him. I was like, man, this dude's a real bodybuilder, you know? So I started I came into the gym as a PT, you know? And the other dude who was a PT was Bob Witt, you know, Team LRF, who's pretty huge in the UK bodybuilding scene. He's probably one of the biggest coaches there is, you know? So I came into Rip Gym, obviously you remember, Dan, you used to be with Bob, wasn't it? As a budding PT with Luke Sandoe, Carly Fulton, and Bob Witt, you know. So I was like, man, how the fuck am I going to survive in this gym? I was like, I'm never going to get any clients. So rather than sort of trying to sort of hedge my sort of go against them sort of thing, I just joined his team, you know. Like I got Luke to coach me. I started getting Luke to PT me, and ended up hanging out with him for a lot of time over, you know, 2016 and a bit of 2017. He put me for a couple preps. So I got to hang out with him a lot. I think one of the funniest times I ever had with him was just going to Five Guys, man. We had just finished training at Rip Gym in Harlow. Yeah. And yeah, we went and got Five Guys. I'd never had a Five Guys, so he took me for a Five Guys, and mate, I've never seen a dude eat so much, man. He was like, we sat down. I've never seen a dude eat so much. Honestly, we sat down. We had two burgers and a large fries. And he was like, oh yeah, we'll just get one large fries between us because they're pretty big. So we sat down. He got me to have two burgers, and he had three burgers. I had two. And I sit down. I barely get through one, you know, because I was a little bitch back then. I was only like 170 pounds. I could barely eat. So I had one burger and ate like a few fries. This guy had three burgers and a large fries. Ordered another large fries, ate the entire large fries, and bought another burger. Yeah, so at this point he's had two. This isn't a joke. Yeah, he's had four burgers and two large fries now. And then just when we was about to go, there's a guy comes up to us and he goes, "Yo, lads," he was like, "You guys look like you can eat a lot." He was like, "I've ordered this and I don't like the toppings were wrong or whatever." He was like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, thinking, "No, we're done." Luke was like, "Yeah, man, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, 5 burgers and 2 large fries from Five Guys."
Oh,
that's not human. That's not human.
That's
unreal.
That's worse than what's his name? Well, it's not John De La Rosa. What's his name? The other guy.
Yeah. I forgot his name. Yeah, Juan Morel. That dude could eat though, man. But like Luke was huge for me, man. He was he was a big motivation for me. Like he was the first guy that taught me really how to train hard, you know. I'd never trained with a bodybuilder until I trained with Luke. Like I had only trained with friends or anything like that, or I used to do a lot of boxing, so I used to train with guys who boxed more than bodybuilded, you know. He was the first bodybuilder that put me through a session, and I was like, that's what sort of switched my love for bodybuilding, you know, when I started training with him. And he taught me a lot, man. I commend a lot of what I teach even today from Luke. You know, he taught me a lot of the, you know, basic bodybuilding, which is what he's known for. You know, basic movements, basic eating, and that's pretty much why
he's going to be missed, brother. He's going to be missed a lot. You know.
Yeah, hugely, man. I was really upset. Really upset.
Sorry
Like, I
to
still
get
haven't
over
really
it.
digested it, man. I don't really. I suppose it's like a duck on water. You know, everything can seem calm and all good on the surface, but underneath, you don't realize how hard they're kicking. You know, like what's going on beneath.
Yeah.
It's it hasn't really sunk in yet, dude. It doesn't really.
I guess we better move on to the questions because I'm gonna start crying any minute.
I did, man. It's sad.
Shall we go through some questions here? We've got some really cool questions. I think Darren's.
I want to know when Darren's competing before you do questions. Because I want to make sure. Because I want to make sure that I do the same show as him.
Oh, we've got the rivalry going on here, huh?
Probably not till March next year, I would say.
Oh, really?
I mean, everything's all over the place now, so we're not sure what's going on, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to hedge my bets and not get involved with what might be this year. Just focus on next year.
I'll probably compete that March as well.
So, you know what? I don't see the point now in just prepping for the sake of prepping.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I want to go into a show knowing that I had everything 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do like 5-6 months now again of pushing back up.
Yeah.
Bring some weak areas and then start prep in sort of December.
You know, I hear you, bro. I'm gonna see about South Korea, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to travel there, bro.
So that's the thing for us. Obviously, Dubai is going to be strict to travel. I'll be able to travel out, but I don't know if I'll be able to travel back in.
Yeah.
It'll be after December before that for here. So.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
I think Darren, you have if you're doing pro shows, I'm not sure if Algeria and places like Libya, not Libya, Tunisia, they have shows there, don't they?
Not pro shows. There's like the Amateur Olympias in Tunisia.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if Lebanon might have a classic pro, but that's not going to be until next year. It'll be the same promoter as New Zealand, Mo El Moussaoui. The other one was Kuwait. Kuwait was supposed to have a classic pro, that got cancelled. So I don't know when that will be.
I remember the first pro show in Kuwait. Everyone had classic trunks on. I'm thinking, like, how many classic divisions is there? You know, like, holy shit. And then it turned out that they weren't allowed to wear trunks.
Yeah, they are now again, but they weren't. Even here in Dubai, the
That's
first week
the laws.
here, they had to wear like swim shorts.
Ah.
Trunks.
Well, sorry for that. This is out of the topic. Have you seen this class where they wear denims and just an upper body?
I've seen that.
What the fuck is this?
I've seen it. They're like, it's in India, isn't it?
Yeah, India, and they actually had it at the Dubai Muscle Beach show. They had it. Fitness model.
Did you do it? Why don't you do it? I'd love to see you do that.
Imagine Jamie does that. Imagine that.
Just as a laugh. Just as a laugh.
With those huge trunks, you know, legs, sitting in a pair of jeans, you know, like, that'd be hilarious.
That dude's a monster. I want to be him when I grow up. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Darren and Jamie. They don't realise I stalk everything they do.
Thanks, man.
No, I love you guys. I think you guys are cool.
There's no harm in looking at, you know, Darren's lifestyle now and think, you know what, I like it, so I might try my luck and get out to Dubai and do what he's doing. Yeah, I'm sure if you and I travel to Dubai right now, most of our time would probably be having dinners with them anyway. You know, you see what I mean? It's like
I've thought about coming out, man. I really have thought about it. I still might. I was speaking to Annie the other day about maybe just coming out for a month or something next year just to feel it out. But
it's such a good environment for training and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
the lifestyle's just suited to it here. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm more of a Rocky Balboa style. I like to go to poor places and train over there. And
yeah, where did you go?
Morocco. I went to Tangier, the north of Morocco.
You didn't even have a TV, did you?
I didn't actually have a TV. It's crazy. I know we're supposed to be finishing this shit, but let's talk about it here. Tangier is a very, I wouldn't call it a third world country. It's harsh of me to say that, but people don't even take cards to pay. So everything's cash.
Yeah.
I got a kg of turkey breast would cost me around £2.80. So I was living a life of a complete pro bodybuilder, and I was growing daily, because all I do is eat, then go back to the bed, take another nap, and then, oh, is it time to train now? Okay, have my pre-workout meal, get out there, train. I've got keys for the gym, so even if it's closed, I'll just go in and train myself. I have a full gym, and it's amazing. The gym has been made by the same owners of my gym here, which is the Body Limit.
Yeah.
I had everything next to me. A taxi would cost, less than £1 to take me to the groceries and come back. And it's like everything was so much cheaper, and the lifestyle was beautiful. I didn't have any friends or anything, so no distraction. I didn't have internet for a good month, so I was completely out,
Loving it.
But it teaches you a lot other than bodybuilding. It teaches you there's more into life than just bodybuilding. You look at people around you and think, you know what, I am going to take something out of my pocket and help those people out in one way or another. I mean, there are guys out there that train so hard, but they can't eat. So what kind of present can you give this guy? 5 kilos of chicken, just help the guy out, So it's puts life into perspective, as they say.
For sure.
All right, guys, let's go through this. All right, this is a question that I think Darren, you're good with this question. I think you're gonna love that. Is it worth purchasing home equipment?
Definitely, man. If this is your goal and you're serious about doing bodybuilding training in general, then yeah, 100%. Why not? You gotta look at your priorities and what's important to you, and of course, it's no different to saying, all right, I work 10 miles away, a car will be a huge benefit to me in terms of giving me more time in my day and getting to work. Then yeah, of course you buy it. So you got to look if it's important enough to you, and yeah. Says
it all casually. Comes from the guy who's got a hack squat in his lounge.
At the end of the day, man, it's the way I saw it was, this is what I do. This is like, mate,
it's awesome. I thought it was wicked when I see that.
My business is involved, or it revolves around training, and it's my lifestyle. So I look at it like, why wouldn't I? It's what brings me happiness. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party. It's like I saw the other day. I saw someone. I won't say who. I saw someone saying about gyms in the UK might be closed to October, and they don't know what they're going to do and all this. And I'm like, bro, for the same price as the holiday you were going to go to fucking Ibiza, you could put, which you're not going to be going on now, fucking put a power rack and stuff and buy a few dumbbells, get back to basics.
They're out of stock. That's the problem. Everything's out of stock.
Yeah, I'll be fair, there is a stock issue. But you can get it though. You can get it. You just have to delve into the internet a bit deeper. I've got a couple of clients that have invested like couple grand in equipment, and they've kitted out their whole garden or garage or whatever, and they've sorted themselves out. So I think it's people hesitating to buy because they're like, gyms might open in a couple of weeks. Gyms might open, but if back in the UK, we've had Boris just come on and basically say that nothing, gyms are definitely not going to open until at least July or more, so it's going to be at least another 8 weeks. I reckon probably 12, to be honest.
If I was there now, I'd be like, right, if I've got a couple of friends, I'll be like, right, guys, let's chip in a bit of money. Let's see if we can find a farmhouse or a garage or something that someone will give to us or rent us. And I would just buy a shit ton of secondhand equipment, and put it in there. And just,
at the end of the day, if you got a barbell and some plates, you could do pretty much anything at the basic,
Wow. I mean, I agree with you guys. I mean, to be honest with you, everyone wants to make money now. So anyone has a garage, I'll pay you this much for a month.
Yeah.
Take it all out. You and a couple of friends just don't even do anything to it. Just clean it out, and then just put your equipment in there and just. You're training like what, once a day? Or Darren, I remember Darren, you train twice a day, right?
Yeah, well, not at the moment. We're going back to one a days for the next few weeks.
But when this is a question that we actually have here, but it's good that we went straight into it. I mean, there were rumors out there that you train twice a day.
Yeah.
And how do you do your splits? Do you mind sharing with us?
No, of course not. So we train twice a day.
Pen and paper.
By Saturday. So Saturday's always a full rest day for us. So it starts, Sunday's the first day of the week here. So Sunday would always be chest in the morning, delts in the evening. Then it would be Tuesday would be quads in the morning. Oh, sorry. So Sunday would be chest in the morning, delts in the evening.
Okay.
Monday would be back in the morning, arms in the evening. Tuesday, quads in the morning, hamstrings in the evening. Thursday, Wednesday, you're back to chest in the morning, delts in the evening. Thursday, then back in the morning, arms in the evening. And then Friday, what we did was we just do one full leg day. So just one session.
Did you take the notes?
What's that?
Did you take the notes? We're stealing that.
Okay.
Oh man.
But, in terms of like most people ask us, oh, do you just do like 3-4? The sessions are still like what you would do in one session. It's like 8-9 exercises, 4 or 5 sets and everything. It's usually we do like a set of 20, a set of 15, a set of 12, and they're all like to failure at that weight. And then last set is like a 6 to 8 with a triple drop or a rest pause.
Would you do like 8 to 9 exercises on just like chest?
Yeah. First 3 or 4 movements are like heavy movements. And then we'll do like some supersets and stuff. Then when we start like fatiguing a bit more, it's just the way they do it out. Like when we're training in oxygen, we're getting trained by someone. They just bury you. It's just like go to everything to failure. If you're doing it, and you're hitting if they put like on the leg press, they put a load of plates on and they're like 15 reps. You do 15 reps. They're like, all right, 4 more plates, 12 reps. They're like. Or you do that, like 4 more plates. They'll keep adding weight until you can't move it. So you're at a point where you're kind of like scratching your head going, I could barely do 5 reps on the last set and you've just added 4 more plates. What? And then they're like drop it from there.
Fuck that. Well, I'm saying fuck that. I'd fucking love it.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things where if you're a bit like John, you'd like probably... I've seen him get to failure and start giggling halfway through. I'm like, why is this guy giggling? Like, seriously, why is he giggling? And then he would get up and he'll be like, okay, I need to go 1 more. And he'll come down, he can't get up, and he starts giggling again. I'm thinking, like, you're fucking mental.
Yeah, I don't know why I do that.
Yeah, I see people like in the UK who are like the traditional like JP style training. And they're like, oh, if you're doing that much volume, you ain't training heavy. They're not going to failure and stuff. And I'm there going, have you seen it? We're doing like a 7-plate squat into a drop set. Like you're doing like 6 plates for 3 reps. We're doing 6-7 reps on that weight, and then taking a plate off and doing 10 reps, taking a plate off and doing 10 reps, taking a plate. We're going to those weights that you're doing your progressive overload at, but we're doing it with 30, 40 reps afterwards and stuff.
Man, I have so many people come to me and talk to me about JP style training and I understand that he's got a lot of methodology behind his training and it clearly works, but I think some people don't really get it. You know what I mean? That it doesn't have to be like that. Like I'm doing sets of squats for like 50 reps and stuff like that, and them same people will be like, oh, it's too much. And I'll be like, you've got fucking twiglets coming out your shorts, man. What are you talking about? They just preach it. They just believe it so much.
At the end of the day, man, JP's earned the right to train the way he trains.
Oh,
right?
fuck yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. If he's fucking shoulder pressing 5 plates aside on a Smith machine, that's a hell of a lot of pressure on his joints. It's a hell of a lot of pressure on his central nervous system. So I can understand that one all-out set to failure there is a fuck ton. If you're a 70 kilo little fucking beginner, you do one all set on a 10 kilo ain't doing fucking shit.
Yeah.
You need to be doing 4 or 5 sets with a bit of volume.
Yeah.
Because you aren't creating the same stimulus as he is.
Yeah.
End story. It doesn't matter. It's not relative. the strength curve is not relative to your body weight. So the way JP trains is not applicable to the most of the nation who are trying to do it.
Yeah, that's what I see. I see the same kids trying to emulate the way he trains, but their intensity is not even at 50% of his intensity.
You know,
You know?
you
They don't
see
understand what.
dude going into a set. It's fucking,
Yeah,
man. The guy going to the war. You know?
yeah,
That's a different story.
yeah. But I've done it. I've trained with people as well who have been on his plans and that as well. And you know, they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to build arms." So they've got arms. They've got like one working set of biceps and one working set of triceps 3 times a week to try and build their arms. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "What? So you're doing 3 sets to failure of biceps and 3 sets to failure of triceps in a week?" Like, that's not going to build you arms. Like, I train arms twice a week, and I'm doing like 4 exercises on bis and tris, and I go to failure 3 sets on everything.
I'm the same.
You know?
I don't know how to get out of this.
I don't understand this thinking that people leave arms like as a secondary. It's like every shot you hit as a bodybuilder is made by arms.
Mate, it actually pisses me off because I think the difference between bodybuilders and everybody else is the fact that we got jacked arms. Like,
if you've got
arm development, man.
your double bicep looks like shit.
Yeah.
You know, its arms are so important.
Yeah. Really, man. There's an arm epidemic. People, you should be doing arm day. There's an arm epidemic. There actually is. I see so many guys doing push. They come to me and they're like, "Oh, I need to build my arms." I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Push pull legs," and I'm like, "Shit, yeah, of course you're doing push pull legs." Like, you need an arm day, man.
Yeah.
Arm day is the best day. I don't know what ever happened.
I'm not getting in this conversation because my arms are crap. My front double bicep is like a different human being from front to back.
Yeah, because your rear shots are pretty good, man.
My rear shots is like a different human being to the front. It's crazy. I need to get out to Dubai and train with those guys.
Maybe you should just train arms.
Don't make me start. Okay. Another question here is it'll go apparently so for all 3 of us. What's your biggest fear?
Wow.
Fear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably just failure. You know, I've always
Fear of
my driving force is not being as good as I want to be.
Fair enough. John? Don't say your mother or your wife or something, please.
No, I'm trying to think. There was a spider in the lounge last night. That was pretty fucking scary.
Oh man.
Fangs on that motherfucker were huge.
So spiders? You have a phobia of spiders?
No, not really. I picked it up, but it was pretty scary.
What's your fear then? Darren needs to eat now. Come on.
I don't know if I've really got any major fears, if I'm honest. I'm being honest. People would expect something funnier, but I don't really have anything that I'm fearful of. I'd be cliche and say the same thing as Dara. I'd be fearful of not doing well in like bodybuilding. That's my fear. My fear is not living up to the shit I say, because I say a lot of shit.
Well, that's a good one, actually. You know.
Yeah,
Fear of delivering.
Speak too much shit sometimes. But.
Yeah. I mean, no, not too much shit, but it's confidence, man. It's different. My one is the unknown. I think fear of the unknown. Sometimes there's shit, shitty stuff hiding for you in the fucking alleyways, in your life. You get somewhere and it just jump out of nowhere at you, fucking imagine driving to the fucking British finals and your car breaks down. That's the kind of shit that I'm scared of.
You like make up scenarios.
or you know, I'm yeah, one of the things that actually made me get my facial palsy is probably the fear of not knowing when I'm going to come home, because the embassy were telling me, you know, there are flights 6 hours away from me in Marrakesh, and I needed to get to there. And I was ill at that time. I didn't know how to get there, and I got into a panic attack. You know, I'm thinking like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do now? So it's that kind of fear that I'm talking about. It's like things that when you're stuck in one position and you don't know what to do and you don't know what's going to happen later, that's what fucking scares the shit out of me. Another question, guys? One last one?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I got all day, man.
Same.
He don't want to eat.
All right. This question came from John, I think. One of your people, I guess.
Yeah, I put out to get some questions on IG, and people just sent. I just sent over some ones that weren't stupid.
I really like this question. It says, if all jobs had the same pay and hours, what job would you like to have?
Job I'm doing now.
Bodybuilding. I'd want to be.
Yeah, bodybuilding and coaching, and I love the fact that I control my days.
I'd want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's PA.
No, for me, I like being in control, and it's the outcome of my life is down to me, not someone else. So it allows me to do what I love.
I would have answered the same way. I love what I do. I think the differences between me and you guys have hit your pro cards. You're on a different platform now. I'm still struggling with the amateurs, you know, and unfortunately with the amateurs, it's really difficult because it feels like there's always someone lined up to get that pro card. There's always a spotlight on one person, and that hasn't happened to me yet. Not because I'm not good enough, not because I don't deliver. No, it's one of these things where it's not my time yet. You know, I've competed 1 year, then taken 2 years out, then another year, then another 3 years out. I keep getting surgeries in between. So I think this is probably not really the best one. I just had 2 surgeries last year, didn't I? But 2018, I competed after a surgery, and then I wanted to get do another show. I was supposed to be doing Spain this year, and all this shit happened, and I was ready. This could have been the year. I guess everything happens for a reason. So that's what I'm saying. It's different for me. If I wanted to have a job that pays the same as any other job, I would still be a bodybuilder, but I would have liked to be on that same platform as you guys, you know, and for me to be able to have fun with it, because now it's not fun. Now I'm playing chasing, you know. It's like it's I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. You become different when you're still an amateur. You're just trying to chase that one thing that you're looking for, and then when you get there, you think, okay, now there's a new goal. I need to level out with everyone else, you know. And I think this is where I think the struggle is for me to choose bodybuilding or not.
I don't think of myself as any different now as to when I was amateur. Like for me, I just do this because I enjoy doing it day to day. I don't even think about like shows. I don't think like someone said, Becky was saying to me, oh, they're announcing the Olympia what was thing today. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's not in my thoughts. I have no intentions of competing at the Olympia anytime soon. It's not my driving force. I'm like, I just want to be as good as I can be, and if that ends up being winning shows, or it doesn't, I really don't care. You know, to be perfectly honest, I don't give a shit.
That's what I mean.
Nothing changes, man. I'm still at my mum's house. Look.
I think this is. I mean, this answers the question. You know, for Darren, you know, the Olympia comes over. If it doesn't, there are plenty of shows during the year He could do any qualifier for the next year. There are a lot of pro shows during the year. Excuse me. For me, I need to qualify for a British final, and then on the day of the British final, I need to be there. I have to be there for me to be able to present what I've been working on the full year. For you guys, you can choose a show. Think, you know what? I'm doing Vancouver. I'm doing, New York Pro, and then that choice would give you the final result. For us, that final result is you have to turn up for me to be do you see what I mean? It's kind of hard, and man, it's I find it much more pressuring being an amateur, because a lot of people expect too much from you. Oh, you're still an amateur, what do you still don't have your pro card. How come you speak like you're one of them? And so you get questioned a lot, and that what starts to get like, okay, the weight's getting heavier on me here. I need to get out of this coat, but this is not me speaking. This is me talking to a lot of other people. There's a lot of pressure on the guys out there.
Like you got something to prove.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Thing is, it's never in your control.
Yeah,
it's never in your control, and it's like we've all been to shows, and you see like someone's a clear winner and they don't win. So it's all very subjective. It's all very like that, and I think it's always a case of just right place, right time. Like fuck it, man. I never won a show until I turned pro.
Yeah, need to just chill out and enjoy it, innit, man?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fall in love with training first. Get
around a little
on a
bit
daily basis. Right, guys. I think we're gonna have to wrap it up here. Been a great chat with you guys. It was amazing having you, Darren, and thank you again for turning up today.
Well, thank you for inviting me on, man. It was
this
chat.
was amazing. Very informative. Of course, John, you've always been amazing. I hope Limp Bizkit goes fine from now on.
Look, I only wear this red hat's gonna be. I need to wash it again.
Dude, where has this shit been?
Do you know the story behind this hat and why I always wear it? It's because I was fucking around one day when I was training. I just got this hat, and then somebody was like, "John, you always wear this fucking hat." And I was only fucking around. I was like, I'm never gonna fucking wash it until I get my pro card. And then it became a thing, so I didn't wash this hat for 4 years.
Well, you're a pro now. You can wash it.
Yeah, and I washed it, and then 2 months later, it looks like this again.
Okay.
But I said I'm not going to wash it until I get to the Olympia. So
thank God you didn't say that about your boxer shorts.
But yeah, my hair's pretty long though.
Oh, I love the hairdos now.
I'm letting it grow out like Charlie Hunnam.
So, guys, thank you very much for hanging around. Guys, comments, bring them down here. If you want to see Darren compete this year, write it down here. Give him some love, guys. What's your Instagram, Darren?
It's just Darren Farrell _IFBB Pro.
And John's one. He's everything's going on his YouTube channel right now, until we get you guys to subscribe more. So more subscriptions, guys, and peace out.
Cheers, guys. Peace.